So it says here that there's a 45-minute time limit. So for this one, there is going to be a clock, and that clock is going to run while you're doing the assignments. You have to finish it within the time. It's almost like if you're in the classroom, okay? So I'm going to start. I'm going to press the start button. And here comes the first question. So look at that question, Mohammed. You can see the question? Okay, here we go. So you can see the question, right?
Right.
All right. So you tell me, okay, let me tell you one of the things you need to look for. Look for the word compound, because if you see the word compound in the question, it means it is a compound interest question. And you know there's a formula for compound interest. And therefore, when you see any question that says compound, you're going to look at the compound interest formula. So this question is a compound interest question. Well, formula for that, right? So it says compounded annually for 6 years. And it says what will be the balance at the end of the 6. You're not asking for the interest. And that's one of the things I want to make sure we clarify today. If the question was asking for the amount of interest, we'd have to do one more step to get the answer. But this is just asking us to use a compound interest formula. So it says $938, 10% compounded annually for 6 years. What will be the balance at the end of the 6 years? So the balance at the end of the 6 years is just the amount, what we've been calling the amount. I'm going to switch back to the camera, and I'm going to show you what that looks like in an actual calculation with the formula. So give me a second here. All right, so we should be back to the camera now. Can you see the paper? Can you see the pen and the paper and stuff? Is that what everybody can see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that formula. Remind what the formula looks like. It says that A is equal to P. If you can't see this, please let me know. Then it's the 1 plus I to the power of the N. Now, we normally ask for the P, the I, and the N. What would the P be in this case? What part of this is the P? What part of the equation is the P?
938.
Okay, so that's my P right there. How about the I? It says 10% compounded annually for 6 years. So what part is the I?
10%.
Great. But do I need to divide that by anything?
6, isn't it?
Nope, because that's time, but it says annually. What you need to look for is the compounding period. If it says annually, then I'm just going to take this 0.1 and divide it by 1, which doesn't do anything, by the way. All right, so it means that it's not going to change that number. It's just going to be 0.01. Sorry, 0.1, which is 10%. The N is going to be the years, which is 6. So I have to multiply that by anything. Again, annually just means 1. So multiply by 1. So let's put it all together into the equation now. That's equal to the 938 multiplied by 1 plus 0.1, 0.10 if you like, to the power of 6 times 1, which is 6. All right? Now, I'm going to put my calculator on the camera. Some people had a little trouble using the calculator to do this. I'm going to put my calculator under the camera to do this question with you. Hopefully you can see my calculator screen. All right, so it's on. I'm going to go 938. Can you see the numbers as I'm typing them in? Yes?
No.
Oh, no.
You can't? No?
No.
Let me put it a little closer then. Does that make it better? Can you see that better?
No, I can't.
Okay, let me turn on some light then. Hang on. I don't know if some light will help us out. Hang on. I don't know if the light will help you out. I can put the camera a little bit closer to the calculator.
I can see a little bit. It's just whatever's on top of it is blocking the lighting onto the calculator.
Okay. I don't know how to fix that short of getting a lamp to shine on the calculator. And that would take me a couple of minutes to get that done. Let's see if we can move on with it anyway. So 938, I open the bracket, 1 plus 0.1, close bracket, to the power of. Now, that's the part that I think some people didn't quite get. There's a key on your calculator that raises it to a power. On my calculator, it's this key right here. Right? So that's to the power of 6. So it's 938 times 0.010 to the power of 6. Press my equal sign. Now, that is my answer. Can anybody tell me how I would round that? Every answer has to be to 2 decimal places. right? Can anybody tell me what this is to 2 decimal places? I'm going to go back and put that answer into my screen that we just had before. What would that answer be to 2 decimal places? Hopefully you can see the answer on the calculator.
It'll be 1,661 decimals 72. That's it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So I'm going to go back to what I was doing before. All right, let's just do the entire screen. Let's just do that. All right, hold on. That's G. Okay, hold on. Teacher ease. Here we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put exactly that. But one of the things you need to understand is that I have to put in that $sign. You see the thing at the question that says enter your answer with the units, which in this case is if you don't put the $sign in, it's going to be wrong. So I'm going to put my answer in with the $sign. Exactly what you just said. 1661.72. Okay. And once I do that, I'm going to press save and continue. So here comes my second question. Hopefully you can all see the second question. I'm putting $436 in a savings account that earns 6% compounded semi-annually. Now, this is a little different question. It's still a compound interest question, but now it's saying how much interest I'm going to get. So when we do this calculation that we just did for number 1, that calculation gives us the amount. Amount includes interest and principal. So if I'm only interested in the interest, there is one more step that I have to do for me to get that answer. Can anybody suggest what that last step needs to be before we actually get to the calculation? If I have the amount, but what I want is the interest, what do I need to do to get that answer? Tell you what, let's get started on the question. I'm going to put the question onto the camera, and we're going to see if we can get that, get at least the first part of that done. I'll tell you what that last step is. The last,
Wait.
yeah, go ahead.
Don't you have to like times the 6 years by 2?
Yeah, we will. Yeah, that's to use a component. You're absolutely right about that. But I'm still talking about the fact that this question isn't asking us how much money we have at the end of the investment. It's asking us how much of that is interest. So we're going to, you're going to multiply the 6 by 2. And we're also going to divide this 0.06 interest rate by 2 because it says semi-annually. But at the end of that question, we're going to subtract out the 436 because that's my initial principal. And if all the question is asking for me is the interest, I have to take out that original principal to see how much of this is just interest alone. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to switch back from presenting to the camera. So the principal is the 436. Everybody can see my camera? Is it sharp enough for you to see what I'm doing here? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my principal.
No, I can't see.
Oh. I'll see if I can sharpen that up a little bit. Is that better?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. So there's my principal. That's my P. My I, remember, is when you take that 0.06, which is the interest rate, and we're going to divide that now by semi-annually means 2. And my N, I heard somebody saying that earlier on, is going to be the 6 years, but this time I'm going to multiply that by 2. Whatever I divide by here, I'm going to multiply by over here. So there is my all information I need for my equation. So I'm going to start by putting that in now. So my amount is equal to the 436 multiplied by 1 plus 0.06 divided by 2, exactly what I have over here. But I'm going to raise that now to the power of 12. All right. So the principal, 1 plus 0.06 divided by 2 divided to 12. So I'm going to put that on my calculator again. I know the calculator isn't showing up very well under the screen. I have another calculator. I don't think this is going to be any better. I'll try this. No, probably not. I'll just go back to this one. So the 436 multiplied by 1 plus, again, oh, sorry, to open the bracket. Forgot to open the bracket. 1 plus 0.06 divided by 2, close the bracket, raise that to the power of 12. All right. So here's my answer, 621.63. I'm going to write that down. 621.63. This is not my final answer. And that's the point I'm making. Because what I'm saying is that included in this 621.63 is my original 436 that I put into the savings account. So if I want to know how much interest I've earned, I have to subtract out that 436 to get my interest. So interest, this is the amount. The first line is the amount. This is my interest. I'm going to take away 436 from that. So minus 436. So this $185.63. Hopefully the rounding on that makes sense. I'm going to write that in right now. So I'm going to go back to my presentation. So now I'm going to put in the amount 185.63. Remember, $ first, 185.63. Save and continue. Now, every time we do, by the way, pay attention to the time. The time up here should have 32 minutes left. Remember, there is going to be a time on this. So 185. I'll make the time generous. I think I forget how many minutes I put on the one that you're going to do, but I don't want you to feel the pressure of time, especially when you're just doing a practice. But I just want to make sure you understand it is going to be timed. All right, so there's my answer, 185.63. Next question. You can see the question. I'm putting $759 as a savings account that earns 6%. How much interest will you receive at the end of 4 years? You notice that there's no mention of compound here at all. When you don't see the word compound, that tells that it's a simple interest. So that's one of the things I want to make sure we're clear on. Look for that word compound in the question. If you don't see compound, then the interest that they're talking about is simple interest. So now start thinking of the simple interest formulas, and you have two simple interest formulas. One of them is for amount. If you want to know how much it is with the interest included, use the amount one. And one of them was for just the interest alone. So if you're only looking for the interest alone, then use just the I equals P times R times T formula. But if you're looking for the amount which includes the original principal, then you have to use the second simple interest formula, which is A equals the principal, open bracket, 1 plus R times T. Hopefully everybody remembers that one from when we were doing simple interest. All right, so we're going to try this question now. I'm going to put in $759, 6%, doesn't say anything about compound, and I'm going to do this for 4 years. So is this question asking me for the amount with the principal in it or just the interest alone? What is this question actually asking me for? Simple interest, but which one? Is it the full amount or is it just the interest alone? Which one is it? Anybody? Is it interest or is it the amount for this question? Come on, there must be one of you who has an idea. Read the question, it's right there on the screen.
Hey, can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. I'm asking you whether this is a simple interest question because it does not mention compound interest. Once it doesn't mention compound, then it's simple. So my question is, should I use there are two simple interest formulas. There's one that gives us just the interest, and there's one that gives us the amount, which means the principal and interest combined in one. Is this question asking me for just the interest, or is it asking me to combine the interest and principal in one for the answer? What do you think this question is asking for?
Just the interest, like
there you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the formula for this one is just P times R times T. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into my calculator. Hopefully you can see what I have under the screen. So remember that interest alone is PRT. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to take 759 multiplied by the rate, which is 6%, so 0.06, multiplied by the time, which is 4, and that's it. That's all I need to do for this question. So 759 multiplied by 0.06 multiplied by 4. My interest here is 182.16. All right, because the question did not ask me for the amount, the principal interest together is just the interest, and it's not compound because it doesn't mention compound in the question, and that's why that 182.16 is the right answer. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to put that into my just give me a second. This is so tedious. I think I prefer Zoom, but anyway. All right, so I'm going to put that answer in, and that answer was 182.60. Now, tell me what I'm doing wrong. I'm doing something wrong here. What am I doing wrong? Why should I not submit this answer the way it is?
Because you don't have a dollar sign.
You would get it wrong if you didn't put the dollar sign in. So, and I don't want you to get it wrong just with something simple like that. Let's put that in. All right, so 182.16, we're good to go. Next question. All right, I'm going to ask you now. Read that question. Is this a simple interest question or a compound interest question? You read the question for yourself. You can see the question for yourself. Simple interest or compound interest?
Simple interest.
Absolutely. It doesn't mention compound. It must be simple. So next question. You have to decide, is it the amount of money I have in my account at the end of the day, or is it just the interest that they're asking us to find? Because that's two different things. And that's two different formulas. Are they looking for the amount of money I have in the account, or are they looking for just the interest alone? Read the question for yourself. You tell me. Is it amount or is it interest? I need somebody to step up there. Amarik, what do you think?
I'm trying to like think.
Okay.
Wait, can you repeat it again? Sorry.
Sure. Mohammed has said that it is just simple interest. I agree with that. The word compound doesn't come into this at all. If it was, then you'd see the word in there, but there's no mention of compound, so it's simple interest. The second question you have to answer is, should I be looking for the amount or the interest? The amount means how much do I have in my account, including my original principal. Interest is what did I add on to the account at the end of the day. So that's a different thing, right? Interest is how much extra I've earned. Amount is how much do I have, including what I put in originally. Does that make sense, Amari? You see the difference between those two? Okay. So you read this question and you tell me which one it is. Is it amount or is it interest? Interest only. Which one is it?
Amount.
This is amount. You're absolutely right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to...
Wait, I don't get it. Why is it amount?
Okay, let's go back and look at the question again then. Actually, I have the question on the camera here. So you could look at the same question. If you invest $879 at a rate of 4%, how much money will you have after 5 years? They didn't say how much interest will you earn, which would be interest. How much money will you have? That means you would have both your original principal, Mohammed, plus you'd have the interest that you earn on top of that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's why that is amount. Okay?
Okay.
So here comes my calculation. This calculation is the amount calculation for simple interest. Hopefully you remember the formula. I'll write the formula down for you. It's the principal, 1 plus the rate times the time. Okay? So in this case, it would be the 879 times 1. The rate is 4%, so 0.04 times 5. Multiplied by 5. So 879, open bracket, 1 plus 0.04 times 5. We'll put that on my calculator now. So 879 times bracket, 1 plus 0.04 times 5, close the bracket, equals. So I'm getting this, $1,054.80. So notice that I'm not stopping at 8. Some of you, when you were answering some of those homework questions and you saw 0 at the end, you left off that 0. When it comes to money, I want you to put in those 2 decimal places every time. Okay? So this figure that you're seeing, this amount that you're seeing, includes my original 879 and the interest that I earned on that 879. And that's what the question is asking. The question says, how much money will I have after 5 years? Will I have in plus whatever the bank added on as interest, so that this is the amount of money I have now. This 10548 is how much money I have now. I'm going to go ahead and enter that into my answer. Okay? So what did I put the last time? Window or entire? I think window. So teacher ease, here we go. So I'm going to put in that amount right now. $sign first, please don't forget that. And then the 1054.80. I'm not leaving off that zero, that's important. Press save and continue, we're halfway there. Okay, look at this question. What will be the final balance? That should be a clue. What will be the final balance for $990 invested at 5% for 2 years? So my question, as I'm always going to ask, is it simple or is it compound for this question? Simple or compound?
Simple.
Absolutely. You don't see the word compound, that means it's simple. Second question, is it interest only or is it amount? Read the question. Interest only or amount?
Amount?
Absolutely, because it says what will be the final balance. So it means including what I put in the first place. So I'm putting in 990. I'm going to wait for 2 years. I'm going to get 5%, and I'm going to get some interest added on, and then I'm going to have that as my final balance. That's what we're going to work on right now. I'm going to switch back to the camera. So I'm going to put that in. And again, remember, this is the final balance, so that's amount. So A is equal to the principal 1 plus R times T, just like the question we just did a while ago. So it's 990. 1 plus the rate is 5%, 0.05, multiplied by 2. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put on my calculator. So 990 times bracket 1 plus 0.05 multiplied by 2, 1089 is what I'm getting.
Mr. Kemma,
Yes, sir.
where'd you get the 2 from?
The 2, the question said for 2 years, remember?
Oh.
For 5% for 2 years. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to the, where am I at now? Present again. So I'm going to put in this box. Tell me what I'm leaving out here now. So I'm going to put in the $signs. I didn't forget that. 1089. Is that answer good enough?
Yeah.
It's not. I have to put in the 0.00. All right. I always want you, when you're doing money, to put in to the very last cent. So make sure you put in the 0.00 on the end. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Let's move on. Question 6. How much interest is earned on a principal of $694 invested at an interest rate of 8% for 1 year? Okay. I need you to tell me whether this is simple or compound. I'm keep asking the same question over and over. Simple or compound. And then the next question I'm going to ask after that, start thinking about that next question is, should I be talking interest only or is it amount? So let's start up. Mohammed, you answer the first question. I'm going to ask somebody to the second question. Is this compound or is this simple? Which one is this?
Simple.
Good. And who else is in the room again? Let me just remind myself now. Tyrell, help me out. What is this going to be amount, or let me go back to the question here. Is this going to be, oh, you should be able to see what my screen is. Is this going to be, here we go. Is this going to be amount or interest only? Which one of them is it for this one?
Am I looking at your page or am I looking at the teacher ease?
You should be looking at teacher ease because the question is right there.
I'm trying to find the amount.
Does it suggest that it's amount for you? Is that what you're thinking?
To be honest, I don't even know.
Okay, let's read the question together. It says, how much interest is earned on a principal of $694? Does that sound like they're asking for, remember, amount means interest and principal put together. So does this question sound like they're asking for that or just interest only? Which one does it sound like to you?
Investment.
Sorry, I heard somebody else saying something. What was that?
Interest.
Yeah, just interest only. It says how much interest. So we're not asking how much money is going to be in your account. They're just saying how much of what you have in your account is interest. And that's just your regular old P times R times T equation that we learned initially. So let me put that back onto the camera now. All right. And so I'm going to say that my I, hopefully you can see that, is equal to my P times R times T, the original interest formula. My P is 694, my R is 0.08, and my T is 1. So because I only want interest, that's all I'm going to do. 694 times 0.08. Oh, sorry, I didn't see the camera.
What does the T stand for again?
T is time. How long? So here's my answer, 55.52. And that's what I'm going to enter into 2 decimal place. That's what I'm going to enter into the window. I got to remember this selection actually. Teacher ease and cannot allow. Oh, geez. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's put that number in. So 55.52, $ first. Remember, that's important. 55.52 and save and continue. We have 2 more questions left. Let's see if we can get those done quickly. All right, you take out a loan for 478 as an interest rate of 8% compounded quarterly for 3 years. What's the total amount that you will owe at the end of 3 years? It kind of gives it away. There's some key questions here, key phrases here. I know whether it's simple or compound because there's a word in the question that tells me. And I know whether it's amount or just interest because there's a word in the question that tells me that. So let me start with you, Amari. Simple or compound? What do you think?
I think it's compound.
Well, it's actually yes, because there is a word compound right there in the question.
Yeah.
Right? And is this going to be interest only or amount? Mohammed, what do you think? Interest only or amount?
Amount?
Yeah, because the word is right there in the question. Okay, so let's go back to the camera. Let's see if we can finish this up here now. So here's my formula again. My formula is that the amount is equal to P1 plus the R, or the I rather, to the power of N. The P in this case is my 478, but my I, need to adjust that I. Help me out. It says 8% compounded quarterly. What do I do with my 0.08 again? I have to divide it by something. Good. And my N is for 3 years. I'm going to take the same thing I divided by, I'm going to multiply by that. So that's times 4. So here's my equation now. So A is equal to 478, 1 plus the 0.08 divided by 4 to the power of 4 times 3 is 12. Let me see if I can put that all in my calculator. You should be doing this in your calculator at the same time to make sure that my answer isn't wrong. Okay, so 478.
So is the T, is that 3 or 4?
Okay, so in this case, we talk about N, which is the number of compounding periods. So when we're doing compound interest, we tend to use N. So it's the number of years multiplied by the compounding period. So in this case, the number of years is 3. The compounding period is quarterly, so that's 4 times per year. So that's why we're multiplying 3 times 4 for the N. Okay? All right, so does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 0.08 divided by 4, close the bracket, raised to the power of 12, and I'm getting 606.22. Now make sure you're rounding it correctly. 606.22. All right, that 21 that you see at the end, I have to round that up to 22 because the 9 is after it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that into select a window, teacher ease, allow. Okay, I'm going to put that number in right here. $sign every time. Don't forget that. Don't get it wrong because of the $sign. 606 0.22. One more question. This is the last question. You borrow $528, and by the way, the time is at 14 minutes now. I did tell you that, you know, it does keep track of time, so we're okay. We only have one more question left. If you borrow $528 for 3 years at a rate of 6% compounded monthly, how much interest will you pay? Okay. Simple or compound? That's the first question. And then the second question is going to be interest only or amount? Okay, start with the first question. Simple or compound? Which one is it? There's a word in the question that tells you right now. Simple or compound? Which one? The question is telling you right now.
Compound.
Absolutely. So it's compounded. So we're going to ask the other question now. Is it going to be interest only? Mohammed, this is your question. Is it interest only, or is it asking for the amount?
Interest only.
Perfect. So we're going to use the compound interest formula, but we have one more step at the end, which is where we subtract the original principal to get the final answer. Okay? Let's switch over to the camera now. And let's do that last question. So I'm going to take my compound interest. You said compound interest. I'm going to do compound interest. There is my P. There is my I. But my I, which is 0.06, sorry, 0.06. I'm going to have to do, sorry, 0.06. I have to divide that by something. It says compounded monthly. What am I dividing it by? Monthly is what again?
12.
Nobody knows? It's 12. And my N is going to be the number of years, which is 3, multiplied by the same number of 12. So whatever I divide my interest by, I'm going to multiply my years by the same thing. So here, let's put that into the formula now. So 528, hopefully you can still see my camera. 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12 raised to the power 3 times 12 is 36. And I'm going to put that all in the camera. And remember, I'm going to have one more step after this to get my final answer. So 528 bracket 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12 raised to the power of 36. Hopefully you're all getting the same thing I'm getting. I'm getting 631.85. And I said there was one more step to get the interest. What's that last step again? I have to minus. What am I minusing from this again? Amara, what am I minusing from this?
Wait, repeat that again? Sorry.
I have to minus. So I worked this out, right? I worked out the thing with the N and the I, and I got 631.85. But the last step is that I have to minus something from this to get the interest only. What am I minusing from this again?
528.
Absolutely. So we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to minus 528, and I'm getting 103.85. And that's what I'm going to put into my final answer. Let's see if we can get that. Okay, so I'm going to put that number in right here. $ 103.85. Okay, so save and continue. And when you get to your last question, it shows you that you've answered everything. You could skip a question, but if you skip a question, it's going to tell you it's not been answered. And all I need to do now is, if I wanted to change anything, I would press review my work. Hopefully you can see that in the upper left-hand corner here. But if I'm happy with everything, I'm just going to press submit now or hand in now. If you press exit quiz, that means that you haven't submitted your work yet. But I'm going to press hand in now and see what happens. So I can actually review what I've done. Let's just check and see how we did. It gives us a little check mark here to say that we've done it. That first one is right. That little check mark says it's right. Second one is right. Oh, this one is wrong. I wonder why that is. Put 759. Oh, the answer should have been, how much interest will you receive? Actually, my answer is wrong. I have to fix that. If we put 181.16, it shouldn't have been 941.16. So I messed up with that one. Next one. We got that one right. Got that one right. Got this one right. Got this one right. We got that one right. Back to summary. Okay, so the summary is showing us that we got everything. This one that we're saying we got wrong, I think I might have messed up putting the wrong answer in. I probably put in the amount here because it's only asked for the interest. So I'm going to say that my answer here is wrong. Anyway, so there you go. It says 7 out of 8, but technically I'm sure we got 8 out of 8. But that's how it is. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to leave it there, folks. Unless anybody has any other questions for me, let me sort of go back to this here. Is there anything anybody else wanted to ask me? So I'd like you to try this assignment. It's not going to count, but I'd like you to try it and see how you did.
I have
All
a
right?
question.
Sure, go ahead.
When is this due?
Until our next session, which would be on Thursday. So I'll put today as the start date, and I'll put Thursday morning as the end date.
What
Okay.
time Thursday?
What's that?
Oh, said Thursday morning.
We're going to have our usual, yes, I put it for Thursday morning. We'll have our usual session at 1 o'clock. Okay, so by the time we get the class done, you should have this done, okay?
Yeah.
All right, everybody good?
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for showing up, and I will post this on YouTube later on.